Hello, I'm Sunshine Kitty Hawk. My lineage is Chantal Two Crows and Medicine Crow, who is a chief of the Napi Cherokee tribe, Native American tribe in America. I completed a 12-year apprenticeship, and now I am running Full Moon 13 Original Clan Mothers monthly women's circles to learn the beautiful wisdom that Jamie Sams has brought to us via this beautiful book. And also in her book, Dancing the Dream, which is also a really beautiful trip around the medicine wheel, really. This month is May, and we are looking at Listening Woman, who is the color of black. And this month is all about the Taioe, which is entering the stillness. The important thing to remember about Listening Woman is that our answers to all of our questions are found within us. They're always there in the stillness. And our job as humans is to turn away from the noise, society's labels, stereotypes, expectations, turn away from all of that to go within to discover, well, what is my truth? What do I believe? What do I think? What do I want to bring forth? You know, what are my strengths, abilities, skills? And we don't find them by just going along and doing what we've always done and playing the role, the good little girl or whatever. We find them by being brave enough to go into the stillness. Now, each person needs to decide how to go into the stillness. It sounds odd to ask, how do you go into the stillness? But that's for you to decide. That's for you to work out your most direct path into that place where there's quiet, where you can hear your inner voice, where you can hear your ancestors and their messages, where you can hear what nature has to teach us, what the creature teachers teach us, what the stone people teach us, what the sky nation teaches us. We don't have the ability to hear those whispers if we're crowded and cluttered and busy and doing all the time. We have to be being. We have to drop into the art of being so that everything we've read, everything we've learned, everything we've heard on a podcast, or everything we people talk about, it's not relevant until it's your truth. And the only way it can be your truth is go within and look for your answers in your own stillness, because everything is within us. We are what we're waiting for. We are what we're looking for. We are what we've always been searching for. We have all the knowledge. We have all the wisdom. And we did Wisdom Keeper a few months ago. Wisdom Keeper was February, the color gray, and we talked about that. You're all wise women and men. So how do you go into the stillness? I know for me, doing a silent retreat was really powerful because I wasn't able to speak for 10 days. There's longer ones. You can do a 3-month silent retreat in many parts of the world. There's one in Nepal, in Copan. There's ones in Massachusetts, in America. There's ones, I'm sure, everywhere where you can just be quiet. And when you're quiet and you're not talking, you start to notice your thoughts, where your mind travels, what you're thinking about, what's distracting you. And you become better and better at discerning. If you can't do a silent retreat, then you can do little mini silent bursts. For example, you feel an emotion rising, you want to react, you want to be in anger, but instead you pause. That pause is entering the stillness, is entering the silence, is going within. That pause allows you to act in a way that's relevant as opposed to react. So the pause, go within, look at the emotion, look at the thought. Is this my truth? No, it's just an old habitual way of thinking and doesn't serve me. I'm going to pause and I'm going to choose a different way of being, a different way of responding, a different way of communicating in this moment. That is listening woman. That is going into the silence right there and then. So we do it every day without knowing. You know, you can do your own little mini retreats. Sometimes I say to my family, right, I'm checking out. I'm 8 o'clock, I'm shutting everything off and going out and sitting under a tree. And I go out there and I drum and I play my beautiful flute and play my beautiful drum. And I just connect with the elements. I connect with the animals. I connect with my inner heart. I spend the day in silence. And I go back maybe at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's just a little way of being present with my mind, with my thoughts. You know, it's just an awesome, if I'm going to teach, I have to really, really, really be aware of where my mind is and what the mind does and be intimate with the mind and know the mind. So that's my way of spending time in the silence. People, you know, may choose to just do a quiet meditation in the morning or a quiet meditation in the afternoon, where you observe your thoughts and see how impermanent they are. Notice that they come and they go. And this gives you the confidence to know when you're in a situation and you're doing your pause, that thought, that anger, that emotion, the jealousy, the wanting to control, whatever it is, that it's rising and it's coming and it will pass. Excuse me. So how do you look at your, how do you spend time in the stillness? The second thing, well, actually the first thing that the listening woman story talks about is she is the mother of discernment. And she explained to us that our body will tell us when we're not in our truth. So I've spoken before, if I go to say something that's untrue, my heart pounds. I can't do it. I know my internal guidance system so well that if something comes up that's not a truth, I really can't do it. I've come to the point now where I can't lie. So how does your body show you when you're thinking or feeling or saying or doing something which is not in alignment or is not in your truth? I call this my bullshitometer. First, you use your bullshitometer on yourself and you really refine your thoughts, your actions, your state of being. And then when you've done that on yourself for a long time, then you can start to use that on others. And Listening Woman talks about looking at others, their body language and the way they speak, and looking at more than their words and able to discern whether or not they're coming from their own truth or whether they're speaking untruths. She also spoke about a way to be a good listener is to understand others' points of view. And I love the way in the story she had two people with differing opinions. So let's say she had Bob and John. Then she got Bob to tell John's point of view over and over and over again until he started to see, oh, I can kind of see where John's coming from. And then she got John to tell Bob's point of view over and over and over again until John started to think, oh, I can see how that person would think that. I just love this because, you know, seeing things from other people's perspective, their worldview, takes empathy, and it takes an understanding that we do not know somebody else's path until we've walked in their shoes, and therefore can we understand another's point of view. And we did this when we did the Clan Mother Weighs Truth, which was January, February, March, the color brown. When we did Weighs Truth, we talked about understanding other people's point of view from their own perspective, that they're often wounded, they're often doing the best they can with what they've got. And can we understand their point of view without judgment? That was really beautiful. After we've used Listening Woman to our own, listening to our own bodies and working out our own truth, and we can look at other people and look at how whether they're speaking their own truth. And then we can go into looking at the truth that comes through connecting with nature. I couldn't do this while I lived in the city. I grew up in the city in Rome and Paris and Indianapolis, Indiana and Sydney, and I couldn't write the book that I've written now until I came to the country and met Chantel Two Crows and Medicine Crow, and they taught me the Native American shaman way, which was connecting with Mother Earth and everything in nature. And it's interesting that the first month of the 13 original Clan Mothers, Jamie Sams, is Talks with Relations. So the first month, I often thought that should be later in the piece, but I realized that Jamie Sams and all these beautiful Seneca women are saying that we need to learn how to understand the language of nature in order to understand the sacred space of others, whether it's animals or humans, to honor the cycles, the rhythms, the moons, the tides. We need to understand that there's levels of truth in all dimensions, and that we learn the truth from our whole planetary family. So we come back to this point in May when we do Listening Woman, because we listen to truth and we hear the truth by understanding the elements and nature. And I just love that. I love that we can listen to the truth in all aspects of life. Now, this chapter invites us to know that it's Listening Woman who sends us signs along our path, that she's listened to our own desires, she's listened to our own yearning. So for me, I've wanted to write a book for decades. The ending of my book came in 2010, and I wasn't able to write it until I had gone through all these rites of passages, all these steps along the medicine wheel. I had to go through them and go through them and go through them and learn my truth and speak my truth and honor my truth and hear my truth until I was able to write and be a reflection of humans' potential. I couldn't be a reflection of humans' potential until I had reached my potential and reached wholeness. And I love that Listening Woman was the one who heard that inner knowing about me wanting to write this book. And so then she led me, she gave me these signs along my path, and I was able to see the signs, and I was able to follow the signs, and I was able to, hear those little whispers and get those nudges to guide me onto my path, off that crooked trail that I was on when I wasn't being authentic and wasn't speaking my truth, and I was in the spiritual closet. She got me out of that, and she pushed me to be authentic and to walk the talk and have my integrity. And so Listening Woman is the one that gives us these signs. So can we hear them? How do you hear them? How do you hear the signs and little messages in your little whispers? How do you hear them? And next, she inspires us to listen to our ancestors. And how do you hear the voices of your ancestors, I ask you? For me, I dream a lot. If I've got a client coming, I'll dream about them, and their guides will come to me, or their ancestors will come to me and give me information to then question them. What have you noticed? Where do you see? What are you being told? What's with that creature teaching you, or what's this situation showing you where you need to be the light? Or what do you need? How do you need to grow to be the light? For me, I knew I was here to be the light, but I wasn't being authentic until I started sharing on My By Kitty. I started to share. That was when I started to step into my power and speak the truth. So you can hear all these clan mothers are coming in, like next clan mother is storyteller. So I just spoke about Speak the Truth, and she's coming in next month. And last month was Looks File Woman. That was all about seeing the truth in every situation and about seeing your vision and visualizing that vision until it becomes reality. So interrupting is a way that you'll notice people don't want to hear truth. They'll interrupt. They may be afraid of what they might hear, or you may be afraid if you interrupt. So, looking at not letting people finish what they say, because they may have a message for you. Listening Woman puts these signs in every situation, on the radio, on the computer screen, on the sign, the billboard, in a conversation that you have, in a movie you pick, in a book you notice, in a magazine stand, something a child says to you, something a random stranger says. These are all things, if we listen, Listening Woman has placed those there for us to know and to see and to hear our truth. Boundaries are another thing. When we are learning to discern and learning to see other people's truths when they're communicating with us, boundaries are a really important thing there to make sure that we don't take on their sacred point of view, and that we can have compassion, but not compassion overload. That's a really important thing, I feel, with Listening Woman. Now, before I finish, I wanted to explain that we travel around the medicine wheel our entire lives. We don't, go around and then graduate and go, woo, I've graduated. No, you have lessons every day in every way until your last moment. You keep expanding your consciousness through this whole lifetime and into the next and into the expanded form. But that we have different life lessons that we experience, and each person will have an overriding life lesson that they are here to learn, or it's maybe their first lesson that they have to learn before they can continue around. So I thought I'd go through those today, because Listening Woman is the color black, about going within, and that's also one of the directions on the medicine wheel. So I thought you might be interested to know your sun sign, what is your first lesson, and which lessons are for Listening Woman. So I'll just walk you around the medicine wheel, starting in the east. I'll just turn this around. I can't turn it around now. That's okay. So just going down here, this is just where I have my clients here. And this is yellow, which is the east direction. And the east direction in the Native American culture is the Eagle Clan. And so if you're Taurus or Aries or Gemini, so me, for your sun sign, your first lesson in this earth walk will be illumination. Going next to the south, if you are born in the southern aspect of the medicine wheel, Cancer, Leo, or Virgo, your first lesson will be around innocence and trust. Coming down now to the west direction of the medicine wheel. This is, I forgot to tell you, the south direction was Mouse Clan. If you're born in the western direction of the medicine wheel, that's Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. You're the Bear Clan, and your first lessons are around introspection, going within for the answers. And lastly, if you're born in the north direction, That's Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. You're going to be having your first lesson around understanding abundance and wisdom and prayer. But I just want to go back here to the west of the medicine wheel. We go into this western direction over and over throughout our lifetime. Even if we're not born in the western, even if our sun sign isn't Libra, Scorpio, or Sagittarius, so that might be their first lessons and their main lesson for this earth walk. But all of us spend time in the western direction of the medicine wheel. Sometimes we need, and I say sometimes we go in there during the day, sometimes we need to go in. We have a challenge that comes up in the day and we need to go inward, going in for the answers. Another time we might be having to focus on abundance to get through our problem. Another time we might need to look, be the light and have illumination. Other times we might need to be in the southern direction of the medicine wheel, and then we need to look at trust and innocence and look at how we feel. So that's just a little explanation about the medicine wheel and how we travel around it in our lifetime. And I just thought I would do a quick reading. So we're just going to pick a card here. Sorry, this is going upside down. How about this one? I love the black arms and that beautiful blue shape, and it's surrender, release, resistance, and control. So releasing resistance and control is all around that pause. I don't need to control. I don't need to worry. I just need to go within for the answers and be really present. There's nothing to control. I love you all so much. I'll see you next month for Storyteller.